Friends, am I audible?
Hi, sir. You're audible now. I
Okay.
think there are
Yeah.
some technical issues for many people due to login error. Our technical team is working, and we will redirecting to YouTube page.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, you can start now. My Shailin is here also. You can
Sure.
start now.
Sure. So, good morning to everyone. Friends, uh, it has been long time. We were having the session on GST Act section by section analysis in last year during the lockdown period. And then thereafter, I have committed that we will be taking up the rules series also. But due to the, what I can say, the schedule and maybe some other reasons which were beyond control, we could not start the rule series, and therefore I thought that since it was committed, I need to do it, and we have launched it. Now again, the situation is almost like lockdown. There are several states wherein the lockdown has already been commenced, and at rest of the places there are night curfews which are imposed by the government. And the situation is, I'll not say similar to what it was during the last year, but it is rather bad than what it was last year. Nevertheless, friends, our intention is just to continue learning. And since it was committed, I had given words to all the participants. We are once again starting the learning together. What I propose to do is we'll be learning rules one by one. Again, clause by clause, each of the rules will be touched upon. Yes, it is very difficult for me because I'm not into compliance at all. I'm purely into litigation practice, and therefore even some of the people have asked me this question also, that whether you are really interested to conduct the rule series. The only answer that I could give was, since it is a commitment that is already given to the participants, certainly I'll be doing it. This series we are doing along with TAXSCAN. I'm indeed thankful and grateful to Mr. Abdullah for joining hands and giving us the technical support. Obviously, my technical team member who is there in all my sessions and during all my presentations, all my books, Shalini is certainly there. So, in case you have any issues further, you can certainly contact either TAXSCAN or Shailene directly, or the numbers which are specified in the brochures. Because since this is the first session, I anticipate that there may be some technical issues, because this is a now collaboration which we are doing for the very first time with TAXSCAN. So it may, as we all have experienced that in GST, after almost 3.5 years, still the technical glitches are there. So this is for the very first time that we are joining together. So there may be some issues so far as the coordination is concerned or the technicalities are concerned. So nevertheless, our intention is to continue learning and to make use of the time in the best possible manner. I also intend during this rules series to touch base these sections also, so that we can not only understand the rules but also understand the sections wherever it is important. Since it is the first session, what we are intending to do is we'll be covering chapter 1 and chapter 2 today, which starts from rule number 1 and which will be till rule number 7. We'll be completing that today. And along with that, I have been instructed, or rather requested, instructed because some senior, very senior member has done that, and requested because many members have said this, that yesterday night there was a notification. There are notifications which are issued by the government, notification number 8 bar 2021 to 13 bar 2021, wherein certain reliefs in context of the what I can say, COVID has been given. So what we will do, we will also deal with those notifications. I'll touch upon those notifications also. Now, before starting this session, let me make a request. As we all are aware, TAXSCAN is growing very fast. I am a subscribed member to TAXSCAN since last almost 6 months, and the news which is being circulated is so fast that if participants wish to join, rather I would recommend to join TAXSCAN, then they should subscribe. I'm sure that they will be getting the updates very promptly. And normal discount plus, they are offering some additional discounts also to all the participants of this series. And there is a code which is Avinash Poddar. I think that is the code which is to be used as a referral code, and you will get extra discounts. Now, friends, let us start with today's first session. I'm really very happy to start this rule series after a long gap of almost 7 8 months, because 7 8 months we have not conducted any of the series. Many series was announced. Let me announce one more thing, that we had announced a series on case analysis, series number 2, that is going on. We have started, resumed it from yesterday. And we have also announced statutory principles and legal maxims. That this was the series announced in June, I think 2020, but because of the due dates, because of the COVID, because of n number of reasons and medical issues, we could not continue with that. So now we are starting that also from 15th of this month, 15th of May 2021. Every Saturday we'll be dealing with the series on principles of statutory interpretation and legal maxims, which is mandatory as per me for all the professionals, for all the tax professionals, to understand what is the principle, how to interpret, what are the legal maxims which needs to be used in case you are filing an appeal or you are submitting a reply for a show cause notice. So, friends, another question which I am getting on a regular basis is whether this series is going to be in Hindi or English. I would say we'll try to keep it in English, a combination of Hindi as well as English. दोनों चीजें हम साथ में करते हैं, so that maximum users get the benefit, because there are n number of, we have more than 5,000 registrations. The participants are from all across the country. There are states which have the prominent language as Hindi. There are states which has the prominent language, second language as English, like South. So therefore, it will be a combination of both, so that it is easy for the participants to understand. This being the first session, obviously, not only the technical glitches, but there can be also the issues wherein we will be discussing the format in which we are going to take up this whole series. And then from next Sunday onwards we'll be in full fledged mode. Rather, I can say that this is a warming exercise. आज हम वार्मिंग अप करेंगे, हम एक दूसरे को समझेंगे. आप जिन लोगों ने लास्ट टाइम सेक्शन बाय सेक्शन सीरीज किया था उनको फॉर्मेट्स पता है. अनदर एक ऑब्वियस क्वेश्चन है कि हम ये जो सीरीज है और जो बुक हमने प्रपोज की थी वो बुक हम कब रिलीज करेंगे. फ्रेंड्स, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, because of the heavy burden of courts, I could not go through. The material is ready, the entire book is ready, but I could not go through those things. And day by day notifications आते जा रहे हैं and add होता जा रहा है. So but now we finally propose that we will be trying to issue the or release the books very soon, the master guide to GST Act and master guide to GST rules. Very, very soon we'll be releasing it. It may be in the month of June that we'll try to release it. So I think I have answered all the questions which is generally asked by me. So let us begin, start the session with rules first, which is the series, and then we'll touch upon the notifications which have been issued by the government yesterday. And I'll also add my perspective to that. Just allow me to share my screen. We'll be starting with this. Friends, you might be seeing, is the screen visible, team? Shaleen, TAXSCAN team? Screen is visible? Are you there? Just give me a minute. I'll have to confirm with the team whether the screen is visible or not. Okay. Okay, friends, let us start. Now, friends, as you are seeing, this is the screen. This is what we are going to have in our book also. And this is the material which we have prepared as a team, wherein it is said to be the master guide to rules. We'll be starting with this format, and each of the rules will be comprising of this format. Chapter wise, this is chapter number 1, the preliminary chapter, which contains rule 1 and rule 2. Now, when were these rules made effective? I'm just reading the contents. I'll not go into the details. Relevant section of CGST Act, which are the relevant sections which are applicable to these rules. Amendment wide, because from this you will be able to know if there is rule number 3 written, then the relevant section which needs to be referred in Act is section 10. If there is rule number 8, then the relevant section may be section 25. So accordingly, relevant section of the CGST Act, the amendment white notifications, there can be certain amendments in those rules by way of notifications. So those notifications along with the descriptions will be mentioned there. Relevant circulars, if any pertaining to the specific rule, relevant forms, amendment in the rule since 1st July 2017. It is going to be a comprehensive book, and therefore we are calling it as a master guide. तो जब हम मास्टर गाइड बोलते हैं तो इट शुड कंप्राइज ऑफ एवरीथिंग. तो 1 जुलाई जब से जीएसटी लॉ आया तब से इस रूल में कितनी बार अमेंडमेंट हुआ, क्या क्या अमेंडमेंट हुआ, entire aspect we are going to cover up in this material. And then the important definitions, if within that rule there is certain important definition that we are going to cover up here. And this is a summary table. This is not the detailed table. This is a summary table which is going to be in or at the starting of all the chapters. Now let us start with understanding and reading the law. Rule number 1. As we all are aware, short title and commencement. These rules may be called the Central Goods and Services Tax Rules 2017. There, and sub rule 2 is they shall come into force with effect from 22nd June 2017. As I'm aware, and you all are expected to be aware, rather you all are aware, I'm presuming this, that GST law was implemented from 1st July 2017. The first bunch of the notifications were issued on 19th June 2017. Then thereafter, the registrations, the provisional registrations, and all that process started from 22nd June 2017. So therefore, these rules, because these rules are pertaining to registrations, and therefore these are coming into effect from 22nd June 2017. Relevant section, there is no specific relevant section to this because it is a standalone short title and commencement. So no specific section. Relevant notifications, rule number 13/2017 is the notification from which, or rather through which, the uh, uh, rule was introduced for the very first time. Relevant circular, no circular is there. Amendments in the rule, there is no amendment. Relevant forms, there is no form. And relevant case laws. This is the structure of each rule. We'll be covering each rule with this sort of structure. Now, rule number two. Rule number two is definitions. As we all are aware, section 2 of any of the acts, most of the acts, I will not say any of the acts, because most, there are certain section, there are certain acts or codes which have section 3 as the definitions section. So rule number 2 deals with definitions. Clause A, act. So which is the act? It is Central Goods and, means the Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. So wherever in this rule the term act is written, it means that it is Central Goods and Services Tax Act unless otherwise specified. Form means a form appended to these rules. There are forms which are prescribed and to be followed for the purpose of, let's say, filing of return, GSTR 3B, GSTR 1, GSTR 4, for the purpose of making payment of tax and intimating to the government, that is DRC 03. So there are a number of forms which are specified, and all these forms are appended to these rules. So meaning thereby any form which is issued, they will have to issue that by way of a notification, and that will become forming part of the rule. And all the instructions which are there for filling up or complying with that form are also part of the rules. Section means a section of the act. And what is the act? Act is Central Goods and Services Tax Act. Special economic zone, clause D, shall have the same meaning as assigned to it in clause ZA of section 2 of the Special Economic Zones Act 2005. Clause E, words and expression used herein but not defined and defined in the Act, that is CGST, shall have the meanings respectively assigned to them in the Act. So, friend, these are the only 5 definitions which are specified in CGST rules and nothing beyond that. Again, the same format which we are continuing. So, since it is rule 1 and 2, the initial rules, so there are not much of the notifications issued. In this chapter, you will find lot of notifications which are issued. There are circulars also, there are office orders also. Lot of things we can now understand the entire structure and the process. So, as I've already said, we'll be covering only 2 chapters today. Chapter 1, rule 1 and 2. Chapter 2, which is rule 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. ये हम आज कवर करेंगे बिकॉज स्टार्टिंग है, वार्म अप है. मैं जब अपने समय में क्रिकेट खेलता था, आई यूज टू प्ले फॉर रणजी ट्रॉफी. सो व्हेन आई यूज टू प्ले, सो initially they were always giving us the warming exercise. So this is a warming exercise for all the participants, because see, being a student of law and being a person who is specifically into the litigations, it is quite difficult for me also. It is quite difficult for me also to understand the procedure which is specified in the law, because I'm not practicing day in day out. तो हम कल नेक्स्ट टाइम से क्या करेंगे, we'll try to relate the rule along with the section, because those sections are already provided in this particular structure. We'll go to that section, we'll try to understand that section wherever relevant, and then we'll try to understand the rules along with those sections, so that it will be more useful and it will give more value to the participants, and also it will add value to all those participants who have never been into the GST practice. So in this chapter, chapter number 2, relevant rules of CGST are 3 to 7 that we'll be covering in this, that is being covered in this chapter. Again, 3 by 2017 is the notification number which is applicable for all the rules under this chapter, which was issued on 19th June, and the effective date was 22nd June 2017. Now, which is the relevant section under the CGST Act? It is section number 10. And now you can see these are the amendments in rule number 3. These are the notifications. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 notifications have been there over the period of time, who or which have amended rule number 3. Then rule number 4, no notification. Rule number 5, no notification. Rule number 6, no notification. Again, rule number 7, there are 3 notifications which are amending rule number 7. The amendment can be of anything. It can be of a word, it can be of a sentence, it can be of a structure, it can be entire substitution of the law, it can be of a table, anything. So we have tried to incorporate anything and everything, but any change made from 1st July 2017 till today, you'll be finding in this particular structure. So to start with, the first amendment which came in chapter 2 was that they started with composition levy. Earlier, the word was not composition levy, it was composition rules. They changed the word rules from levy. Then relevant circulars, there are two circulars which we find are relevant. Maybe you find some more circulars, or maybe you do not find even these circulars to be relevant with these rules, but this is as per us that we find these circulars relevant to be included in this chapter. Relevant letters or trade notices or orders which are issued over the period of time, these are for the extensions of filings. And rule 3 have 4 orders of similar kind. Then relevant forms, which are the relevant form per rule, rule number 3, rule number 4, these are the forms which are effective. And then the amendments from 1st July. So what we have done is we are not taking the detailed amendment here, since it is a summary table at the commencement of all the chapter or every chapter. We have mentioned only the brief, that what is amended, not the detail you will be finding with each rule. Now let us go through the rules. Let us start one by one and try to understand the provisions. Intimation for composition levy. Sub rule 1: any person who has been granted registration. Now please note, any term which is defined in any, which is not defined in rules but it is defined in act, then same meaning needs to be borrowed for the purpose of rules also. So any person who has been granted registration on a provisional basis under clause B of subrule 1 of rule 24, and who opts to pay tax under section 10, shall electronically file an intimation in form CMP01, duly signed or verified through electronic verification code on the common portal, either directly or through a felicitation center, notified by the commissioner prior to the appointed day, but not later than 30 days after the said day, or such further period as may be extended in this behalf. Now, this is the period when GST was implemented. It is not applicable as on today, but we need to understand, because if we are reading a law, we need to read everything. We cannot leave even that provision which has no value, because we need to understand what provisions at least were there. So therefore, when we were getting ourselves transmitted or transited from the erstwhile regime to GST regime, getting a provisional registration and opting for payment under section 10, that is composition levy, then in that case we were supposed to file CMP01 form electronically prior to the appointed day, that is 1st July 2017, or within 30 days or the extended time period. Further, it says, provided that where intimation in form CMP01 is filed after the appointed day, the registered person shall not collect any tax from the appointed day, but shall issue bill of supply for supplies made after the said date. Meaning thereby, if you are filing CMP01 within 30 days as specified in the rules, you are not supposed to charge the tax from the uh, recipient, your recipient to whom you are supplying the goods. So therefore, please bear in mind, from first day of the year for which you are opting for, or from the appointed day in case of the first year, that is 1st July 2017, please keep this in mind. If you are applying for registration at a later point in time, you cannot charge even a single rupee as tax. Now, this is an old provision. ये provision का भी कोई relevance रहता नहीं है, but उन लोगों के लिए रहता है जिन्होंने गलती से भी चार्ज कर लिया हो. So they will, the question arises whether they will lose then, कि उनको कंपोजिशन उस साल का चला जाएगा. So since they have violated the provisions of the law, they will have to face the consequence also. Subrule 2, any person who applies for registration under Subrule 1 of Rule 8 may give an option to pay tax under Section 10 in Part B of Form GST REG 01, which shall be considered as an intimation to pay tax under the said section. Now, this again says when you are making an application as a new registration, then in that case, in Form GST REG 01, you will get an option wherein they will ask you whether you want to make the payment under Section 10. If you select that option, then it will be considered as an intimation. You are not supposed to file any separate form then. It will be considered as an intimation to pay tax under the composition levy, that is under Section 10. Moving further, any registered person who opts to pay tax. Now, this is very, very important sub rule, and I'll also mention about a litigation which is going on so far as this is concerned. Important litigation is going on before various courts, and we need to understand what kind of litigation that is. But nevertheless, prior to understanding that, let us see the provision of that rule. It says any registered person who opts to pay tax under Section 10 shall electronically file an intimation in Form CMP 02. Please note the words. पहले जो था सब रूल 2 में, वहां पे आप रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं. So you are a person who is applying for registration, and in this sub rule you are already registered, meaning thereby you might be registered under the regular scheme, regular levy. Now you want to get yourself converted into the composition levy because of the turnover, which makes you qualified or eligible to get yourself involved or included or registered as a composition dealer, and therefore you are willing to get your registration transferred from regular dealership to the composition dealership. So please bear in mind, friends, that this sub rule, that is sub rule 3, is pertaining to a registered person, already a registered person. Any registered person who opts to pay tax under Section 10 shall electronically file an intimation in Form GST CMP 02, duly signed or verified through electronic verification code on the common portal, either directly or through a felicitation center notified by the commissioner prior to the commencement of financial year for which the option to pay tax under the aforesaid section is exercised, and shall furnish the statement in Form ITC 03 in accordance with the provisions of sub rule 4 of Rule 44 within a period of 60 days from the commencement of relevant financial year. Now, please note, let us try to dissect and understand. What does it say? Let us see first line. It says any registered person who opts to pay tax under Section 10 shall electronically file an intimation in Form GST CMP 02, which is to be uploaded electronically, duly either digitally signed or through EVC, that is electronic verification code, either directly or through a center. Now we all are aware. So it means आप रजिस्टर्ड होने चाहिए, और अब आप ये चाहने चाहिए कि आप कंपोजिशन में जाना चाहते हैं, सेक्शन 10 में पेमेंट करना चाहते हैं, एंड देयरफॉर यू आर सपोज टू फाइल अ फॉर्म which is CMP 02. Till this, I think it is clear. Now, when this form is to be filed, that is the question. It has to be filed prior to the commencement of the financial year for which the option to pay tax under the aforesaid section is exercise, meaning thereby if you are opting to make the payment under section 10 for 2021-22, then you need to make an application prior to the commencement of 2021-22, meaning thereby you are supposed to file CMP02 before, on or before 31st March 2021. So prior to the commencement of the financial year for which the option to pay tax under the aforesaid section is exercised, and shall furnish the statement in ITC 03. Now we all are aware what is ITC 03. ITC 03 is the form which needs to be uploaded for your input tax credits, because when you are getting yourself transmitted to a composition levy dealer, then in that case whatever input tax credits you have, you need to surrender, you need to waive off, or you need to forget all those input tax credits which is there on the day you are getting yourself converted into the composition dealer, that is from 1st April 2021 in my example, meaning thereby जो भी क्रेडिट आपका 31 मार्च 2021 को आपकी बुक्स में था, वो क्रेडिट आपको आईटीसी 03 के हिसाब से लैप्स करना पड़ेगा. So it has to be filed. Now, when it has to be filed? Within a period of 60 days from the commencement of the relevant financial year. Meaning thereby, if the year is commencing on 1st April 2021 in my example, then within 60 days of that particular day, you will have to file it. Meaning thereby by 29th of May 2021, 31 May, sorry, 30th May, because 30 days of April, 30 days of May, not 31st May. Moving further to the proviso, now these provisos have been inserted during the COVID times. Provided that any registered person who opts to pay tax under Section 10 for the financial year 2021, it is restricted to 2021, shall electronically file an intimation. I think this is not relevant, but still, since it is my duty to cover up clause by clause and everything, I'll be reading it for the benefit of all of you. Shall electronically file an intimation in CMP02 duly signed or verified through electronic verification mode on the common portal, either directly or through a felicitation center notified by the commissioner on or before 30th day of June 2020, and shall furnish the statement form GST ITC 03 in accordance with the provisions of subrule 4 of rule 44 up to 31st day of July 2020. Now please note friends, the rule says that the application in CMP02 for opting to pay tax under section 10 needs to be filed prior to commencement of the financial year for which you are opting to make the payment under section 10. Now this proviso extends the period for 3 months because of that COVID time. Please remember, March 2020 was the first wave and lockdown. Now the same situation has arisen for 2021-22 also, but the government, in all those notifications which they have issued yesterday, we were expecting that they will issue extension as they have issued last year also. They have not done this. In none of the notifications they have specified about CMP02 so far as I have read. If I have missed, then I'm not aware, but otherwise, to the extent of my reading, I could not find any of the notifications which extends the date for filing CMP02 or 2122. I don't see any harm in doing that because it's a procedure, it's a compliance. So therefore, as I mentioned that I will specify one of the matters which I have filed before the Honorable Gujarat High Court. I don't remember the name, but I think it is Riddhi Automobiles of Vadodara. And the issue was that the person who is proprietor of this organization is dealing in the I think those oils, castrol oil or something, which is used in the vehicles or automobiles. So he was suffering from COVID. He was suffering from COVID in March end, and therefore he could not upload CMP02. Now he has a turnover of 85 lakhs, meaning thereby he is eligible as per the provisions of section 10 of the law. Now section 10 says that if you have turnover less than this prescribed limit, then in that case you are eligible to opt for section 10 or make the payment under section 10 to be precise. Now by way of a rule, because I have read the entire section, I could not find anywhere that the procedure can restrict a person from getting the benefit under section 10 or benefit of payment, making payment under section 10. I could not find any provision like that in the statute book, and therefore now restricting this कि आपको पहले ही अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, 31 मार्च 2021 से पहले ही करना पड़ेगा, उसके बाद आप नहीं कर सकते. नाउ द पोर्टल इज नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग. He was COVID positive, he was isolated, he could not file CMP02 because of the genuine reasons. Even if the reasons were not genuine, I could not find any of the provision which restricts me from making an application of CMP02 and intimating to the statutory authorities about my option of making payment of tax under section 10. It only speaks about the eligibilities, that your turnover should be this, and these are the restrictions, that if you are falling in any of these, then you will be restricted from making an application or opting for being into the composition levy. Otherwise there is no restriction per se. If the statute does not put any such restrictions, how a rule can put that? So therefore we have challenged the virus of rule 3 sub rule 3. So this was why I was saying that we have approached the honorable court for striking down rule 3 sub rule 3, or allowing me to file CMP02 and opt for composition levy, because it is becoming difficult for me to do business now. I am dealing with a product which is having the rate of 18%. If I will charge 18% from the customer, I will be out of competition. So therefore the question comes whether there is any restriction in the law book which can stop me from making an application after the commencement of the year. I could not see except this rule. So therefore, we have tried to challenge this. Let us see what happens. And if I'm not wrong, this same rule has been challenged before the Delhi High Court also in one of the matters. I've heard that. While I was there waiting for my turn to be called out, my matter to be called out, I have heard one of the advocates arguing this matter, and this rule was challenged, and the notice was issued by the Delhi High Court. Rule Sub Rule 3A. Notwithstanding anything contained in Sub Rules 1, 2, and 3, a person who has been granted registration on a provisional basis under Rule 24, or who has been granted certificate of registration under Sub Rule 1 of Rule 10 may opt to pay tax under 10 with effect from the first day of the month immediately succeeding the month in which he files an intimation CMP02 on the common portal, either directly or through a felicitation center, by the commissioner on or before 31st day of March 2018, and shall furnish the statement ITC 03 in accordance with the provisions of Sub Rule 4 within a period of 180 days from the day on which such person commences to pay tax under section 10. So I don't think this is relevant now, so I'm skipping it. I'm not discussing this, provided that the said person shall not be allowed to furnish the declaration in GST Tran 1 after the statement in form ITC 03 has been furnished. And quite obvious, because once you have lapsed your credit, you are not eligible to file Tran 1. Subrule 4, any person who files an intimation under Subrule 1, अंडर सब रूल 1, जहां पे प्रोविजनल में आप ऑप्शन किया था क्लॉज बी में रूल 24 के, उसकी बात कर रहा है. टू पे टैक्स अंडर सेक्शन 10 shall furnish the details of stock including the inward supply of goods received from unregistered person held by him on the day preceding the day from which he opts to pay tax under the said section. मैं कल से अगर ऑप्शन लेना चाहता हूं तो आज मेरे पास कितना स्टॉक है, including the stock which I have purchased from the unregistered person, I'll have to declare that. Correct? Electronically inform CMP03 on the common portal, either directly or through a felicitation center notified by the commissioner. Within a period of 90 days from the date on which the option of composition levy is exercised, or within such further period as may be extended by the commissioner in this behalf. I think nothing to be discussed much. And now subrule 5. Any intimation under subrule 1 or subrule 3, as we have discussed, subrule 3 is for a person who is already registered under the act and now he wants to opt for making the payment under section 10, or subrule 3 capital A, in respect of any place of business in any state or union territory shall be deemed to be an intimation in respect of all other places of business registered on the same permanent account number. This is also specified in the section in the provisions of the statute, that once you take a registration for one of the states under the composition levy, you are presumed to be registered as a composition dealer for all the states where you are registered under the composition levy, for the same permanent account number. Now, which is the relevant section? Section 10 is the relevant section, and chapter number of the CGST Act, for the convenience of all the participants and the readers of the book. We have also mentioned the chapter number of the Act. This is chapter number 3, and the section is composition levy. Relevant notification. Now, this is something which is very important and very interesting. And you can see at the right hand side QR code. In the book, you will find the QR code also. So you can just scan the QR code and you can see the notification. You are not supposed to flip the pages and go for the QR code or go to the website and all. Nothing of that sort is required. You can simply scan it. So rule 3 was first introduced by 22 bar 2017. As we all are aware, it was introduced from 1st July 2017, and the rule was, if you can remember, the rule was this 3 bar 2017, and then it was again 22 by 2017. Then further it was 34 by 2017, which was further amended by 45 by 2017. Then 45 से वापस 3 बार 2017 से 18 से अमेंड हुआ. 3/18 जो है वो अमेंड नहीं हुआ फर्दर. And then in 2019 a notification came 3 bar 2019 amending rule 3, and then 30 bar 2020 amending rule 3. So when, by which notifications रूल वाज अमेंडेड, अगर एक नोटिफिकेशन आया और उसी नोटिफिकेशन को बार बार अमेंड किया गया, तो आप इस तरीके से यू विल फाइंड 34 by 2017, it was again amended by 45 by 2017, then again by 3 bar 2018. Similarly, अगर 3 bar 2018 amend हुआ होता तो you could have find that here in the book, but since it was not amended, it was a standalone amendment, so therefore you will find 3 bar 2018, then in 2019 it is 3 bar 2019, in 2020 it is 30 by 2020. So the best part would be, अगर एक rule 50 बार amend हुआ है, so you will find all those notifications here, and clicking on the QR code you will be aware what change was made. And then we have details also. जो amendments हुए हैं, all those amendments are mentioned in another table which is now coming, wherein we'll have detail about what amendment has taken place. Relevant circulars. Rule number 3. This was a circular which clarifies the issue relating to exercise of option to pay tax under notification 2 bar 2019. And then in 2017 also, uh, I think there is some mistake. It is 2020, 136 bar 2020, clarification in respect of various measures announced by the government for providing relief to the taxpayers in view of spread of coronavirus. From next session onwards, what I will do is I will also have the links of this circulars and notifications so that you can just go through it. I'll just click and I'll show it to all of you. relevant letters, notices, or difficulty orders, if any. So these were few of the orders which were issued, like 1 oblique 2017, 21st July 2017, extension of date for filing option for composition levy, CMP 01. Then again, 4 bar 2017, 29th September 2017, extension of time limit for intimation of details in CMP 03. Then 5 bar 2017, dated 28th October 2017, extension of time limit for intimation of details of stock in CMP 03. Again, it was extended. And then finally 11 oblique 2017, 21st December 2017, again the time limit for CMP 03. Now, this is what I was talking about, that you will find the amendments in the rule. So rule 3 sub rule 4, it was amended for the first time by 22 of 2017. And what was the amendment? Amendment was 60 days become was substituted by 90 days. You can see this. We have written it at 22 bar 2017. Yes, this is the notification. So what amendment has taken place? This has mentioned. So prior to the amendment, what was the provision? It is specified here that it was within a period of 60 days. So what we are trying to do is, whenever and how many times the rule is amended, you will find entire history in this portion, that is amendment from 1st July 2017. पूरी हिस्ट्री आपको यहीं पे मिल जाएगी, और यहीं से आपको ये आइडिया आ जाएगा कि ये रूल कितनी बार अमेंडमेंट हुआ, और फर्स्ट टाइम क्या आया था जब ये लॉ आया था, और उसके बाद कब कब अमेंड हुआ और क्या क्या अमेंड हुआ. Everything you will find here only. We are trying to work in that fashion. Then this amendment was there, wherein sub rule was inserted. This sub rule 3A was inserted by 34 by 2017. And then there was an insertion of words or sub rule 3A by again the same notification. And prior to this, sub rule 4 was read as an intimation under sub rule 1. But now it is read as any intimation under sub rule 1 or sub rule 3 or sub rule 3A. Then again, the amendment was there by 45 but 2017, wherein the sub rule 3A was substituted. Prior to the amendment, the whatever we have seen in this table, in this starting, when we have discussed this 3A, prior to this was the provision. Prior to amendment, sub rule 3A was as under. So this is how we can understand this. So my intention is only to make you understand how we have structured this book. So I'm leaving the amendment parts. This will be the part of the book, and then the relevant forms with pertaining to rule number 3, CMP 01, CMP 02, and CMP 03. So we'll add one more table, one more column here in the relevant forms, that if it is a rule, under which chapter of the CGST rules you will find this rules. The relevant case law, since that rule 33 which is under challenge is not adjudicated, I have not incorporated. Otherwise, you will find the details of that particular case also in the book itself, wherein you can understand that if we are reading rule number, let's say 8, with regards to registration, what are the case laws which are there for that particular rule. I'm not talking about sections, because section के लिए जो case laws हैं वो specifically will be covering in the master guide to the GST Act. बट रूल से रिलेटेड अगर कोई स्पेसिफिक है, जैसे रूल 33 को चैलेंज किया, रूल 96 का 10 को भी चैलेंज किया, हमने रूल 61(5) को चैलेंज किया, सो ऑल दोज थिंग्स यू विल फाइंड इन द रूल चैप्टर. नाउ मूविंग टू रूल नंबर 4. Rule number 4 says, effective date of composition levy. The option to pay tax under section 10 shall be effective from the beginning of the financial year. So one thing is very clear. Whenever you are opting for composition, it will be effective from the first year, from the first day of the year, from the beginning of the financial year, where the intimation is filed under sub rule 3 of rule 3, and the appointed day where the intimation is filed under sub rule 1 of said rule. Meaning thereby, if I am filing under sub rule 1, that is provisional registration से आए हैं, तो 1st July 2017 जो appointed day, from that day it will be applicable. But where we have filed CMP 02 under rule 3 sub rule 3, वहां पे it will be applicable from the first day of the financial year, that is 1st April 2000 and whatever year is there. Sub rule 2 says the intimation under sub rule 2 of rule 3 shall be considered wherein a new application is being made. जब मैं कोई नया एप्लीकेशन कर रहा हूं तो मेरा इफेक्टिव डेट क्या होगा? ओनली आफ्टर द ग्रांट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन टू द एप्लीकेंट एंड हिज ऑप्शन टू पे टैक्स अंडर सेक्शन 10 शैल बी इफेक्टिव फ्रॉम द डेट फिक्स्ड अंडर सब रूल 2 और सब रूल 3 ऑफ रूल नंबर 10. When you will get the registration from the government officer, that day will be the date which will be specified in the certificate from which you will start making the payment of tax under section 10. Yani this is applicable for a new applicant, new person who is opting for making payment of tax under section 10 of the CGST Act. Again relevant section section 10 ही है. Rule effective हुआ 3/2017 से. There is no circular, there is no trade notice, nothing, no case law, nothing, because it's a very simple rule. It simply says the speaks about the uh, procedure of the effectiveness of the date. Now moving to the next part of rule 5. Rule 5 is conditions and restrictions for composition levy. Friends, we all are aware section 10 already specifies certain conditions which are further discussed in these rules. So the rules are imposing certain conditions for opting for composition levy. Subrule 1, the person exercising the option to pay tax under section 10 shall comply with the following conditions, namely, he is either a casual, he is neither a casual taxable person nor a non-resident taxable person. If you read the statute, they have inserted clause F, the same restriction, जहां पे उन्होंने बोल दिया है कि वो कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन या नॉन रेसिडेंट टैक्सेबल पर्सन नहीं होना चाहिए. Again, they are reiterating the same. The goods held in stock by him on the appointed day have not been purchased in the course of interstate trade or commerce or imported from a place outside India or received from his branch situated outside the state or from his agent or principal outside the state where the option is exercised under sub rule 1 of rule 3. जहाँ पे आप प्रोविजनली शिफ्ट हो रहे हैं, जहाँ पे आप 24 रूल के हिसाब से शिफ्ट हो रहे हैं क्लॉज बी के हिसाब से, वहां पे बोलते हैं कि जो आपका अपॉइंटेड है 1 जुलाई 2017 को जो आपके पास स्टॉक पड़ा है उसमें से कोई भी स्टॉक इंटर स्टेट परचेज या इंपोर्ट का नहीं होना चाहिए, आउटसाइड स्टेट का कोई भी स्टॉक नहीं होना चाहिए. दैट इज द restriction, that is the condition they are imposing on a person. So this is not now applicable because ये तो 1 जुलाई 2017 को जो हुए थे उनके लिए था. हाँ, लिटिगेशंस अभी आएंगे, अभी डिपार्टमेंट के ऑडिट्स आएंगे, then they can point it out, so we need to remember this. The goods held in stock by him have not been purchased from an unregistered supplier and where purchased he pays the tax under 9(4). Now again the issue is there because 9(4) is not effective now. 9(4) अभी है ही नहीं. He shall pay tax under subsection 3 or subsection 4 of 9 on inward supply of goods or services or both, wherein I'm procuring any goods or services from an person wherein the reverse charge mechanism is applicable, तो मुझे वो tax payment करना पड़ेगा. That is the condition. So anyways I will have to do it because for paying the tax on my outward supply, this composition levy option is given to me. But for paying RCM, this is not applicable. Section 934 will be applicable to me. He is not engaged in the manufacture of goods as notified under clause E of subsection 2 of section 10 during the preceding year. Now, subsection 2 में जो restrictions है, there were 5 restrictions. Now they've inserted 6th also, clause F, जहाँ पे उन्होंने बोला कि it should not be a casual or a non-resident taxable person. That is all good, but important here is they have clause E which says कि we can notify, there can be certain notified businesses जहां पे कंपोजिशन भले ही आपका टर्नओवर कम होगा लेकिन आप कंपोजिशन में नहीं आ सकते. So there is a judgment, there is a case law. I think the courts cannot adjudicate this, but there is a case law of Delhi small scale ice cream manufacturers versus Union of India. Delhi small scale ice cream manufacturers versus Union of India. It was a judgment of Honorable Delhi High Court wherein the petitioners were a manufacturing organization of small scale, और आइसक्रीम मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को क्लॉज ई ऑफ सेक्शन 10(2) के हिसाब से नोटिफाई कर दिया गया है कि यू कैन नॉट ऑप्ट फॉर दी कंपोजिशन लेवी, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट दे आर फेसिंग दी कंपटीशन इशू. सो बिकॉज आइसक्रीम मैन्युफैक्चर में बहुत सारे छोटे छोटे ऐसे हैं जो मैन्युफैक्चर करके सेल कर देते हैं, दे आर नॉट पुटिंग एनी रिकॉर्ड. टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, आई एम स्पीकिंग इन पब्लिक, बट टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट वो 2 नंबर में बेच देते हैं. सो इवन इन दैट केस वहाँ पे उनको बहुत कंपटीशन हो जाए, दे हैव रिप्रेजेंटेड दिस टू द काउंसिल, देन दे हैव अप्रोच द ऑनरेबल कोर्ट, बट द कोर्ट सेड कि हम इसमें कोई भी डायरेक्शंस नहीं दे सकते, वी कैन नॉट इशू एनी डायरेक्शंस टू द government. What we can do is we can only say that whatever representation is given by the small ice cream manufacturers, you please refer to those representations and decide it accordingly. So that is what is ordered or directed by the Honorable Delhi High Court. Moving further, he shall mention the words composition taxable person not eligible to collect tax on supplies at the top of the bill of supply issued by him. And he shall mention the words composition taxable person on every notice or signboard displayed at a prominent place at his place of business and at every additional place of business. So these two are the conditions. You can correlate or link these conditions with rule 18 also. Rule 18 जो registered normal registered persons के लिए है, उसमें भी यही दो conditions, इस तरीके की conditions दी गई है. Sub rule 2 of rule 5, the registered person paying tax under 10 may not file a fresh intimation every year, and he may continue to pay tax under the said section subject to the provisions of the act and these rules. Now what does it mean when it says subject to the provisions of the act? Section 10 specifies under one of the subsections that I can continue to pay under section 10 as a composition dealer till the date my turnover exceeds the limit. अगर 1.5 करोड़ का लिमिट है, जिस दिन मेरा टर्नओवर 1,50,00,000 1 रुपया हो जाएगा, आई विल बी ऑटोमेटिकली आउट ऑफ द कंपोजिशन लेवी स्कीम एंड आई विल बिकम अ रेगुलर डीलर. So therefore, till that time, I can continue paying tax under section 10, and I do not need, there is no requirement per se for filing the intimation every year that I want or I will be paying tax under section 10. I don't think that I'll be going through this because the format is now explained to everyone. Rule number 6. Rule number 6, validity of the composition levy. Subrule 1, the option exercised by a registered person to pay tax under section 10 shall remain valid so long as he satisfies all the conditions mentioned in the said section under the rules. We all are aware, जब तक आप conditions पूरी करेंगे तब तक ही आप composition levy में payment कर पाएंगे, otherwise you will be out of the composition levy. The person referred to in subrule 1 shall be liable to pay tax under section 9(1) from the day he ceases to satisfy any of the conditions mentioned in section 10 or the provisions of this chapter, and shall issue a tax invoice to every taxable supply made thereafter, and he shall also file an intimation for the withdrawal under the scheme in CMP 04 within 7 days of occurrence of such event. So whenever 7 days lapse, within 7 days he will have to issue the CMP 04 wherein he will be withdrawing the uh, or rather withdrawing himself from the scheme. Subrule 3, the registered person who intends to withdraw from the composition scheme shall, before the date of such withdrawal, file an application in form GST CMP 04 duly signed or verified through electronic verification mode electronically on the common portal. Subrule 4, where the proper officer has reason to believe that the registered person was not eligible to pay tax under Section 10 or has contravened the provisions of the Act or provisions of this chapter, he may issue a notice to such person in CMP 05 to show cause within 15 days of the receipt of such notice as to why the option to pay tax under Section 10 shall not be denied. सर देखो इसमें तो मैं कुछ कमेंट नहीं करूंगा, रीजन बीइंग कि द ऑफिसर्स आर गॉड नाउ डेज, दे बिहेव एंड दे थिंक दैट दे आर गॉड, एंड देयरफॉर दे कैन इशू नोटिस फॉर एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग. उनको जब भी जो भी डाउट लगेगा, दे आर equipped and they are having all the rights to issue the notice, and at the same time we are also having the right, we also have the right to revert back or reply to those notices. So kindly be prepared. Whenever any such notice is received, you please reply it back. So therefore next sub rule, it says upon receipt of the reply to the show notice under sub rule 4, from the registered person in CMP 06, the proper officer shall issue an order in CMP 07 within a period of 30 days of the receipt of reply, either accepting the reply or denying the option to pay the tax under Section 10 from the date of option or from the date of the event concerning such contravention as the case may be. So now the important part is that आपको पहले 15 दिन का समय दिया जाएगा, आप उसमें रिप्लाई फाइल करेंगे, और रिप्लाई मिलने के बाद विद इन 30 days दे विल हैव टू डिसाइड वेदर दे वांट टू कंटिन्यू यू एज covered under Section 10, allow you to make the payment under Section 10, or they are rejecting your plea and discontinuing you from making the payment under Section 10. Sub Rule 6, every person who has furnished an intimation under Sub Rule 2 or filed an application for withdrawal under Sub Rule 3, or a person in respect of whom an order of withdrawal of option has been passed in GMP 07 under Sub Rule 5, may electronically furnish at the common portal, either directly or through a felicitation center notified by the commissioner, a statement in GST ITC 01 containing details of stock of inputs and inputs contained in semi-finished or finished goods held in stock by him on the date on which the option is withdrawn or denied within a period of 30 days from the date from which the option is withdrawn or from the date of the order passed in CMP 07 as the case may be. Now this is again very important, because see, when you opt for a composition levy, what you are required to do, you are required to file ITC 03. आपको आपके जितने क्रेडिट्स हैं वो क्रेडिट्स आपको लैप्स करने पड़ते हैं. तो सिमिलरली अगर आज मेरा ऑप्शन सेक्शन 10 में पेमेंट करने का अगर आप मेरे से ले रहे हो, या आप CMP 07 इशू कर रहे हो, या आप बोल रहे हो कि भाई यू आर नॉट एलिजिबल टू मेक द पेमेंट अंडर सेक्शन 10, सो द डे यू आर सेइंग, उसके इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग डे पे जो भी मेरा स्टॉक था, इनपुट था, जो भी स्टॉक था, उसके ऊपर जितना भी मेरा क्रेडिट था, आई बिकम ऑटोमेटिकली एलिजिबल टू क्लेम दैट क्रेडिट. बट theoretically I am becoming eligible to claim the credit, but what I need to do practically, I'll have to fill a form which is ITC 01. मुझे ITC 01 में बताना पड़ेगा कि मेरे पास इतना स्टॉक पड़ा है, इस स्टॉक पे इतना टैक्स कंपोनेंट है, and therefore this is the amount of tax which I have already paid while procuring the goods, and now since I am being transmitted from a composition dealer to the regular dealer, these credits should be given to me, and therefore ITC 01 has to be filed within a specified time period, that is 30 days. 30 days from the date when the option is withdrawn by me, or 30 days from the date of the order, which is in form CMP 07. Now please bear in mind, this is from the date of order passed, this is not from the date of service of the order. Moving further, Sub-rule 7, any intimation or application for withdrawal under Sub-rule 2 or 3 or denial of the option to pay tax under Section 10 in accordance with Sub-rule 5 in respect of any place in any state or union territory shall be deemed to be an intimation in respect of all other places of business registered on the same PAN number. It is very obvious, जब मैं एक स्टेट में रजिस्ट्रेशन लेता हूं तो सेम पैन नंबर का जितने भी स्टेट्स में रजिस्ट्रेशन है सब में मैं कंपोजिशन में आ जाता हूं. तो इसी तरीके से जब एक से मेरा हटेगा तो सब में से हट जाएगा. सो वंस आई विथड्रॉ or once I am denied under one state, then it will be obviously denied in all the states wherever I am registered under the same PAN. This we have already tried to cover. These are the relevant forms CMP 04, 05, 06, 07. We have already discussed about that. Now is Rule 7. Now, what is Rule number 7? Rule number 7 is rate of tax of the composition levy. Now, what is the rate which is applicable if you are falling in the composition scheme? Now, this has already been amended multiple times, and you will see how we have tried to incorporate all those amendments for the benefit of the readers of the book. The category of registered persons eligible for composition levy under section 10 and the provisions of this chapter specified in column 2 of the table below shall pay tax under section 10 at the rate specified in column 3 of the said table. Now, sections under which composition levy is opted. अगर subsection 1 and subsection 2 में है, तो manufacturers other than manufacturers of such goods as may be notified, like we have discussed, small ice cream manufacturers, then 0.5% of the turnover in the state or union territory. Again, if same subsections, then suppliers making supplies referred to in clause B of paragraph 6 of schedule 2, जहाँ पे restaurant services are included. So it is 2.5% of the turnover in the state or union territory. Again, if the same subsections have taken registration, any other supplier eligible for composition under subsection 1 and 2, then it is 0.5% of the turnover of the taxable supplies of goods and services. सेक्शन 10 सबसेक्शन 2A में अगर आप रजिस्टर करते हैं एज अ सर्विस provider, then in that case registered person not eligible under composition levy under subsection 1 and 2 but eligible to opt to pay tax under subsection 2A of section 10, then it is 3% of the turnover. So 3% turnover का लगेगा supply of goods and services in the state or union territory. Now this is, please bear in mind one thing which is very important, कि अगर आपकी exempt supply है तो that will not be forming part of this. प्लस बहुत स्पेसिफिकली लिख रहा है सेक्शन 10 1 और 2 में. नो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस? सी मैन्युफैक्चरर्स, वहां पे आप देखेंगे वहां पे आपका केवल टर्नओवर की बात किया. सेकेंड रो में अगर आप देखते हैं तो इट इज ओनली जो रेस्टोरेंट में है तो इट इज अगेन अ सर्विस, बट थर्ड में देखेंगे तो इट इज 0.5% of the turnover of the taxable supply of goods and services. This is the amendment which have been done. पहले ये केवल goods था, now it is goods and services after the statute has inserted and allowed us to avail the scheme of composition even for service providers. So these are the notifications which have amended rule 7. 3 बार 2017. This has first amended 3 bar 2018, then 3 bar 2019, and 50 bar 2020, then 8 oblique 2017, then 3 bar 2018. So you'll find the notifications whenever the notifications are inserted or whenever the notifications have been amended. You will find all those details in the relevant rule. Then relevant circular, if any. So this was a circular number 77, denial of composition option by tax authorities and effective date thereof. Then no order. This was the amendment. The first time आप देखेंगे, so this was the table with effect from 1st January 2018. Notification number 3 bar 2017 has amended the rates. Prior to the amendment, 1 जनवरी 2018 से पहले ये था, यानी ओरिजिनली ये आया था. देन सेकेंड टाइम ये आया 1 जनवरी 2018 से, देन 1 फरवरी 2019 से ये आया, एंड देन फाइनली दिस इज व्हाट इज एप्लीकेबल, जो हमने यहां देखा. So friends, this was all about rule 1 to rule 7, which I intended to cover today as the first session of this series. I hope now you are through with the structure. You are through with how we are going to cover this entire series, and I hope we'll have a great learning time during next 2.5 to 3 months, wherein we'll be discussing the rules in detail, clause by clause. Now there are certain questions which is pertaining to the sharing of material. Please understand, friends, this is a book and a material which is copyrighted by me. I'll not be in a position to share the material with the participants because this is a material which has taken a lot of pain. The team which has compiled it, Shailin Doshi and rest of the team members have made huge efforts in compiling this. But I can assure one thing to all of you, that the book is certainly going to be released very soon, and will come out with some of the schemes for the participants wherein the participants can get the book at a reasonable cost. We may also try for an ebook which can also be released, but I'm sorry, I'll not be able to share the material of this particular series. Rather, in last series also, wherein we have discussed the act section by section, that point in time also I was not in a position to share that because it has involved a lot of efforts, and this is a copyrighted material which is going to be released as a book. But yes, the rule part, not the entire book, but the rule part, we will certainly share with all of you. Once again, let me share with all of you that now we are going to deal with the notifications which were issued yesterday for giving relief to the taxpayers in next 10-15 minutes. And then if there are any queries, then we'll take up those queries. But before moving to the amendments, uh, before moving to the notifications which were released by the government yesterday to provide relief to the taxpayers, let me announce one thing. TAXSCAN, as I've already mentioned, is giving you an additional offer of 10% discount to all the registered participants of this particular program. And the offer will end on 6th of May 2021. You can simply add a referral code of Avinash Poddar and you will get the additional discount. Now let me share the screen once again and let us try to read the uh, notifications and deliberate on that. Just a moment. Yes. Yeah. These were the notifications. Let me start with notification number 8 bar 2021. 8 oblique 2021 is the first notification which is issued. Now it is with respect to the interest. Now I have a different view to these notifications. Let me first share that. Let me first inform to all of you that we filed two writ petitions, one before the Honorable Gujarat High Court and the other before the Honorable Delhi High Court. The matter before the Delhi High Court is listed tomorrow, and in Gujarat High Court, maybe it will be taken up on Wednesday or Thursday. The petitions are with respect to the extension of dates considering the COVID period, and also the order of the Honorable Supreme Court. In the meanwhile, the department and the government have already issued the notifications. But to be very honest, the kind and the manner in which the notifications are issued, I personally feel that this is not the appropriate way of doing it. It is an injustice to the taxpayers. As per my view, this is my view, personal view. बिकॉज आप एक महीने के बाद रिलीज कर रहे हैं, पिछले महीने का एक महीने के बाद रिलीज कर रहे हैं, और जिन लोगों ने ऑटोमेटिकली या ऑलरेडी टैक्स का पेमेंट अलॉन्ग विद इंटरेस्ट कर दिया है, तो 8 बार 2021 इज एब्सोल्युटली साइलेंट ऑन दोज फैक्ट्स. What does it say? It says taxpayers having an aggregate turnover of more than 5 crores in the preceding financial year. Then whatever is the due date, let's say the due date is 20th. So for March 2021, the due date was 20th April. If I am paying the tax along with interest within 15 days, then the rate of interest will be 9% interest in spite of 18%. Meaning thereby अगर मैं 5th May 2021 तक पेमेंट करता हूँ, तो it will be 9%. So there is a relaxation given to me of 9%. My question is, in this COVID pandemic time, wherein the life saving is crucial, we are not getting the medical facilities, we are not getting the beds. Many of our near and dear ones are losing their lives because of the inefficiency of treatment, or rather the infrastructure issues of the government. Why the government is pressurizing us, or why the government intends that we should pay 9%? Why they require this 9%? They should waive off it completely. और 5 करोड़ से ऊपर वाला हो या छोटा वाला हो, हाउ डज इट मेक अ डिफरेंस? जितना बड़ा बिजनेसमैन है आज की डेट में, जितना ज्यादा उसका टर्नओवर है, उतनी ज्यादा वो प्रॉब्लम में है. They need to appreciate that it is other way around, because they have the cost accordingly, higher of the costs. Last year there were a lot of relaxations by banks also. Till this year, till today, there is no such relaxation also. Nevertheless, this is the law of the land. मेरा कुछ भी व्यू हो, it makes no difference, but as a citizen, as a student of law, I need to share my views bluntly and honestly. Let us not go into that. Let us try to understand. 9% will have to be paid if I make the payment of tax within 15 days, that is by 5th of May 2021. Now they are releasing on 1st May 2021. 11 दिन तो आपने ऑलरेडी खराब कर दिए. 11 दिन के अंदर there are various genuine persons who were afraid of the imposition of interest and the late fees on them, and so as to save their face and to be in the good books of the government, they have paid interest of 18%. Let's say they have filed return on 30th of April, so they have paid for 10 days. A person who has a liability of, let's say, 100 crores have paid for 18% for 10 days. Now whether you are going to refund it back, the government, the notification is absolutely silent on that. So unfortunate. So therefore I personally feel that this is not the right way of doing it. So what they have done is 9% for, if I'm paying till 15 days, for the first 15 days, and if I'm paying on the 16th day, then it will become 18%. So दूसरी चीज जो डिफिकल्ट मुझे लगती है कि अब आपको एक चार्ट बना के रखना पड़ेगा कि कोविड 2020 में क्या हुआ, उसमें गवर्नमेंट ने कौन से नोटिफिकेशन आए थे और रिलैक्सेशन किस तरीके से था. क्योंकि उसमें कुछ अलग था. 29 जून तक भरोगे तो ऐसा, 5 जुलाई तक भरोगे तो ऐसा, तो दैट वाज स्टगर्ड मैनर. अब उन्होंने ये तरीका निकाला है. सो यू विल हैव टू प्रिपेयर अ चार्ट एंड रिमेंबर दैट फॉर एवर, बिकॉज 3 साल 5 साल के बाद जब गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर आएगा आपके पास स्क्रूटनी करने के लिए या ऑडिट करने के लिए, सो तब तो आपको याद नहीं रहेगा ना. तो वो याद रखने के लिए यू विल हैव टू प्रिपेयर अ चार्ट. सो दे हैव गिवन यू एडिशनल टास्क बाय coming out with such kind of notifications which are so confusing that even a expert will have to prepare a chart and remember, forget about the trade house, forget about the small businessman. So second part is taxpayers having an aggregate turnover up to rupees 5 crores, then nil for first 15 days, it's a good relaxation. Then 9% after 15 days for another 15 days. यानी 30 दिन के अंदर करोगे तो पहले 15 दिन कुछ नहीं, नेक्स्ट 15 दिन 9% और उसके बाद 18%. इसी तरीके से जो प्रोवाइजो में एप्लीकेबल है, जिसको 39(1) में था वो पहला था, फिर जो प्रोवाइजो में पे करेगा 39(1) के, उसके लिए भी सेम है. पहले 15 दिन नील, नेक्स्ट 15 दिन 9%, उसके बाद 18%. और 39(2) में जो लोग भी पेमेंट करेंगे उनके लिए भी सेम है. 15 दिन के लिए नील, नेक्स्ट 15 दिन 9% और उसके बाद 18%, 18% क्वार्टर एंडिंग के बाद, जो भी उनकी ड्यू डेट्स रहती है. Moving to 9/2021, this is with relation to late fees. Again, they have created a mess out of it. They are saying अगर 5 करोड़ से ऊपर होगा, so 15 days, for 15 days they have waived the late fees. What about over and above 15 days? What about a case wherein I have filed my return, as given in example, on 4th? I have filed my return, let's say on, sorry, not on 4th, but on 30th of April. My late fees, whether it is going to be waived automatically while filing the return in May, or the late fees will be generated because I've filed before issuing the notification. So nothing is said about that. Again, 5 करोड़ से नीचे अगर कोई है तो मार्च और अप्रैल. And why March and April only? Because we are, a lot of the experts and medical fraternity people are saying that still the peak is awaited. तो 15 मई 20 मई तक वो बोल रहे हैं पीक आएगा ऑफ सेकेंड वेव. So why only April and May? Why we should beg again? Why we should wait again for the notification to come? They could have given for June, till June or July. See the kind of impact this COVID second wave has given. It is not going to go off till June or July. It is going to have the effect. So why you want us to, or the taxpayer, to again face a hardship of money also? Because the entire economy is struggling, the taxpayer is struggling. You should appreciate this and you should give that relief to the taxpayer. But they have given only for March and April. What about May? What about June? Nobody knows about it. So maybe they will again issue some notifications in case the situation does not improves. They are anticipating that everything will be okay with till May. So again 31 39 1 का अगर कोई है, तो it will be 30 days from the due date of furnishing return. They have given waiver for 30 days, late fees waiver for a small taxpayer 5 crore तक का जिसका टर्नओवर है, 30 days from the due date of furnishing the return they have given the waiver of late fees. Then 10 bar 2021, they have extended the date of filing of GSTR 4. GSTR 4, if I am not wrong, the date of filing was 30th April 2021. After the lapse of that date, they have extended the date till 31st day of May 2021. जिन लोगों ने स्ट्रगल करके या जिन लोगों ने डिफिकल्ट टाइम में भी अपने क्लाइंट के लिए कंप्लाई किया, all those are fools. These this government is issuing notifications in such a manner wherein the person who is defaulter is the person who is getting most of the benefits. बिकॉज उसके वो इंटरेस्ट भी वेव का बेनिफिट मिलेगा, उसको लेट फीस वेव का भी बेनिफिट मिलेगा, उसको एमनेस्टी स्कीम का भी बेनिफिट मिलेगा. बट जो व्यक्ति जेन्युइन है और रीजनेबल टाइम लिमिट में विद all interest and penalty he is making the payment of tax, he is the person who is always at loss. So such kind of discrimination is there in all we have seen in last 3.5 years. So GSTR 4, the date has been extended from 30th April till 31st May 2021. Then 11 bar 2021. Now what they are saying ITC 04. I really have a doubt how many people are filing ITC 04. बिकॉज मैंने तो नहीं देखा कि ITC 04 ज़्यादातर लोग भर रहे हैं, एंड दे विल बी इन ह्यूज प्रॉब्लम बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट इज कीपिंग ऑन mentioning about those dates, due dates. So what they are saying, ITC 04 for January to March 2021, for the quarter January to March 2021 is now extended, which was 25th of April, is now extended to 31st day of May 2021. Now see what kind of proactive measures the government is taking. इनको 25 अप्रैल 2021 से पहले 20 दिन 15 दिन पहले एडवांस में इन्फॉर्म करना चाहिए था कि लुक दिस इज द पोजीशन एंड देयरफॉर वी आर एक्सटेंडिंग इट. इन स्पाइट ऑफ डूइंग दैट वो डेट निकल गया, उसका 5 दिन 6 दिन निकल गया, उसके बाद they are issuing the notifications. Anyways, this is how we'll have to live with the uh, attitude. 12 bar 2021. Now this says GSTR 1 date is to be extended. Now GSTR 1, the date is 11th of every month. What does it say? Provided further that the time limit for furnishing details of outward supply in GSTR 1 of the said rules for the registered persons required to furnish return under subsection 1 of section 39, जो भी 39(1) में रिटर्न भरने वाले हैं उनके लिए GSTR 1 जो है फॉर द टैक्स पीरियड अप्रैल 2021 shall be extended till 26th day of the month succeeding the tax period. तो इनका अप्रैल का जिसका 11th में होता था, that date is extended to 26th of the month, 26th May. Now this is a good thing because they have given the relief in advance and now they can plan. Because अभी तक जो टैक्स प्रोफेशनल्स या बिजनेसमैन स्ट्रगल करके ऑफिस पहुंचते थे कि नहीं नहीं ड्यू डेट आ रहा है, विल हैव टू रीच एंड विल हैव टू कंप्लाई, नाउ एटलीस्ट दे कैन बी रेस्ट कि GSTR 1 is to be filed till 26th. Now what will happen for GSTR 2B and 2A, I am not going into all those things. Now 13/2021, what does that say? They say for complying the provisions of 36(4, जैसा उन्होंने लास्ट ईयर भी किया था, फरवरी से लेके आई थिंक जुलाई अगस्त तक का एक क्यूमुलेटिव करने के लिए बोला था. सो अगेन दे आर सेइंग फॉर अप्रैल एंड मे द कंप्लायंस ऑफ रूल 36(4 कैन बी डन क्यूमुलेटिवली एंड इट कैन बी डन फॉर द मंथ ऑफ मे। तो मे का जो रिटर्न 20 जून को जाएगा, वो 20 जून से पहले क्यूमुलेटिवली अप्रैल और मई का 36(4) का कंप्लायंस किया जा सकता है। दैट इज व्हाट दे आर मेंशनिंग। देन 59(2) में also they have said, provided that a registered person may furnish such details which is required for 59(2) for the month of April 2021 using IFF from the first day of May 2021 till 28th day of May 2021, and then they have issued a notification with respect to the time barring। दे से कोई भी प्रोसीडिंग कंप्लीट करनी हो, कोई भी ऑर्डर पास करना हो, कोई भी नोटिस, इंटीमेशन, नोटिफिकेशन, सैंक्शन या अप्रूवल इशू करना हो, या कोई भी एक्शन लेना हो किसी भी अथॉरिटी के द्वारा या कमीशन के द्वारा या ट्रिब्यूनल के द्वारा, सो ऑल दोस आर नाउ एक्सटेंडेड। और जिसका डेट्स ड्यू डेट्स पड़ता है 15 अप्रैल 2021 से 30th डे ऑफ मे 2021, 15 अप्रैल टू 30th डे ऑफ मे 2021, that is now to be treated as 31st May 2021। एट द सेम टाइम अगर मुझे कोई अपील फाइल करनी है, कोई रिप्लाई करना है, एप्लीकेशन करना है और फर्निश करना है कोई रिपोर्ट को, then all those dates are also further now extended to 31st May। All those dates which are lapsing or which are falling to be complied with within 15th April to 30th May is now made 31st May। But this notification will not apply to these things। चैप्टर 4 के जो प्रोविजंस है उसके ऊपर एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा। सेक्शन 10(3), सेक्शन 25, 27, 31, 37, 47, 50, 69, 90, 122, 129, on all these sections the above provisions, above notification will not be applicable। 39, 3, 4, 5, 39 के लिए applicable नहीं होगा except 3, 4 and 5, subsection 3, 4 and 5। सेक्शन 68 के ऊपर एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा, यानी इंटरसेप्शन अभी भी होगा। रूल्स मेड अंडर द प्रोविजंस क्लॉज ए टू डी जो मेंशनड है ऊपर, उससे रिलेटेड कोई भी रूल्स अगर हैं तो उसके ऊपर भी एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा। प्रोवाइडेड दैट वेयर एनी टाइम लिमिट फॉर कंप्लीशन ऑफ एनी एक्शन बाय एनी अथॉरिटी और एनी पर्सन स्पेसिफाइड इन और प्रेस्क्राइब्ड और नोटिफाइड अंडर रूल 9 of the CGST rules falls during the period from 1st day of May till 31st day of May, and where the completion of such action has not been made within such time, then the time limit for completion of such action will be extended up to 15th June। रूल 9 के हिसाब से 1 मई से 31 मई के बीच में जो भी उनको प्रोसीजर्स करने थे, अब वो 15 जून तक किए जा सकते हैं। Now clause 2, which is again to be referred, clause 1 we have referred about the dates to be extended. Now clause 2 says, in cases where a notice has been issued for rejection of a refund claim in full or in part, and where the time limit for issuance of the order in terms of provisions of subsection 5 read with subsection 7 of section 54 of the said act falls during the period from the 15th day of April to 30th day of April, in such cases the time limit for issuance of said order shall be extended to 15 days after the receipt of reply to the notice from the registered person or 31st day of May, whichever is later। तो या तो 31st में या 15 दिन के अंदर, तो जो भी टाइम लिमिट थी उसके 15 दिन के अंदर, अगर वो टाइम लिमिट 15 अप्रैल से 30 मई के बीच में फॉल कर रहा है तो या तो 31 मई तक वो ऑर्डर इशू करे या रिप्लाई करे, या फिर 15 दिन के अंदर। सो दिस इज व्हाट इज प्रोवाइडेड इन दिस notification। So not anything else to be discussed because then it is replica of everything। So friends, these were the notifications which were issued by the government yesterday with respect to the relief that they have given to the taxpayers। Friends, I hope uh, you have understood how we are going to structure the rule series, and I expect that from next week onwards we'll be starting full-fledged and we'll be dealing with the uh, clause by clause analysis of the rules, and I'll try to touch upon the important provisions of the act also, so that if you want to correlate both the provisions then you can do that। So with this, I think if there are any questions we can take up those questions।
Yeah, so we have received some questions from our attendees. The first one is from Mr. Hetal Bhanushali. If we are not availing credit available in books but not filed in ITC 03, is it okay?
Can you repeat the question? If you are not availing the credits which is there in the books.
But not filed ITC 03, is it okay?
Yeah, if you are not availing, then it's okay. But I think you need to get it lapsed from electronic credit ledger also, no? So unless you get it lapsed, it will keep on or it will continue to be reflected in your electronic credit ledger. You need to take it off from the electronic credit ledger. So better to comply with that.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Mr. Naveen Dandaria. Dealer having stock out of interstate purchase as on appointment dated 1/7/2017 and has opted for composition levy. What are the legal consequences?
See, legal consequence as per the rules and the restrictions, it says that if you have purchased the stock from an outside dealer, then you cannot opt for the composition levy. Now, what I understand from this query is that you have already opted for that particular scheme. What I understand is the scheme per se restricts this with the purpose that if you have purchased under the low rate of taxes and interstate supply, let's say against C form or whatever, then that additional liability may come to your liability chart. You will have to be responsible to pay that liability only. This is what I believe. They are not going to cancel your composition levy altogether. This is what I believe, and we can fight for that. That is not an issue.
Okay.
ये गलती किया है तो उसका yes
Oh,
please.
thank you, sir. So, for another question is that many CAs are advising composition dealer cannot have interstate purchase basis condition in Rule 5A/B. In my view, that was a transition period only. Can you please elaborate on this?
I agree. This was only for the transition period. It is not for the regular scheme. And if you read section 10, then section 10 has the restrictions. It has restriction only with relation to outward supply. If I am indulged into outward supply interstate, then in that case, I cannot opt for the composition levy. Otherwise, I am eligible for composition levy and I can procure goods from outside state also.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Another question, Mr. from Hemang Shah. Sir, a sweet meat dealer has opted for a composition. He manufactures and sells sweet. What rate of tax will be payable by him? Please clarify. Is it 0.5% or 2.5%? That is his question.
See, the issue is that I never indulge into such kind of classification issues because whether it is 2.5% or 0.5% needs to be decided whether he is a manufacturer, he is deemed to be a manufacturer of sweets, or he is deemed to be falling into the restaurant services. What I would suggest is you should have two different isolated places. One wherein the tables are there where he can whether the purchaser can sit and have the sweets or the namkeens or whatever. In that case he will be having the liability of 2.5% as per my view. And if he is only producing sweets and selling it off, then certainly it is not a restaurant service, it will be falling into 0.5%. So you need to see, look into the facts, and accordingly you can move ahead.
Okay, sir. Another question from Mr. Sanjay Domadia. Sir, in GST, we have seen that to get relief, one needs to approach courts, and those who approach courts only are entitled. Why it should not be made applicable to all by amendments in Act and rules?
I'm not the right person to comment on this because it's on the government side whether to accept the ruling which is or the pronouncement of the court. There are certain things which the government may not agree to, and therefore they are moving and filing SLPs before the Honorable Supreme Court against the order of the High Court. Now, so far as why this relief is not applicable to all the taxpayers, I would submit that this is a writ court. Writ court is generally a remedy which is one to one. It is not one to many in most of the cases. But if there are no controversial or contrary judgments of various high courts, and there is one or a similar judgment of all the courts, then I would say that it is applicable to anyone and everyone, provided the facts are same. If the facts are different, then in that case, he will have to get the relief on his own. Otherwise, he can rely on the relief which is given by the Honorable Court to any other person also.
Another question from Mr. Harish Chandra Bhatia. COVID makes no distinction between SSC having turnover of less than or more than 5 crores. How and why the government should make this distinction?
It's an honor for me if Bhatia sir is attending this session, and I think he is the appropriate person to answer this because I am not in that position to answer this. But as per me, in COVID situation, any person who is registered, any person who is supposed to comply with the law must be having the liberty to claim the reliefs given by the government. There should not be any classification or any distinction between a person who has turnover of 100 crores, 5 crores, 1 crore, or 1 lakh. Because even if you have you in your pocket thousands of crores, you are not getting a bed today. All are equal. जब nature ने equal बना दिया, then why this government is artificially classifying 5 crores or less than 5 crores and giving separate or different reliefs to that? Why interest of 9% is charged from a manufacturer having 100 crores of turnover? Why not he is also having the relief of nil rate of interest, nil interest to be paid for 15 days? What benefit is given to a small taxpayer? I agree with the comment of Bhatia ji that certainly the benefit should be given, the similar benefit should be given, and no turnover criteria should be there.
Another question
Yes, please.
from Mr. Aditya Nalpet. What are the consequences of late filing of CMP04 since GSTN is not auto calculating late fees?
See, if there is no late fee prescribed in the law, then they may go for a general penalty under Section 125. Not being a person of compliance, I'm not aware what is whether a late fees is prescribed for non-filing of CMP04 or not. So I'm not the right person. But yes, if there is no late fee prescribed in the law, then certainly a late fee, the penalty of general nature can be imposed. Otherwise, not. Or maybe under Section 122, if there are any clauses under which he is covered, then also the penalty can be levied. Otherwise, general penalty under 125.
Another question is that what's the tax implication on and how shall e-way bill to be prepared?
E-way bill.
Yeah.
See, again a compliance question. E-way bill, I think there is a portal from where e-way bill is being prepared, and at the time of movement of goods, it is being handed over to the person who is taking off the goods. Over and above that, I am not aware, but I am sure there is an portal, a separate portal from where e-way bill is being generated. Yes, move ahead.
We're looking for more relevant questions. Some of the questions look similar. There's another question from CH Rahul. What if the dealer has not reversed and paid the ITC on stock as on specified date at time of availing composition scheme?
See, anyways, you are not eligible to continue with those credits, because you will have to pay out of your own pocket if you are now covered into the composition levy. So the only thing can be a non-compliance of non-filing of that form or reversal of the credits. That's it. It's a normal compliance violation. So therefore, a normal penalty can be imposed on you. Nothing beyond that.
Okay, sir. One more question from Pritesh Hirapara. A developer can claim refund of GST based on rate difference on input and output rate. If yes, what point need to be considered while filing refund application?
Can you repeat the question?
A developer can claim refund of GST based on rate difference on input and output rate. If yes, what point need to be considered while filing refund application?
The answer is no, because therefore I have asked for question to be repeated, because for a developer there is a specific restriction by way of notification. If I'm not wrong, it is 16 or 15 by 2017, which says that a developer who is engaged into the development of commercial complexes or business complexes, even if the output rate is lower than the input rate, he is not eligible for claiming refund. It is specifically barred by way of that notification. So therefore, the refund is not allowable.
One more question is there from Mr. Chitrang Atul Shah. Is it compulsory to pay tax under protest to get a future refund benefit if court grants at a later stage?
Nothing is compulsory, it is voluntary. See, so it depends on the amount which is involved and the implication of interest thereon. If the interest is on, see, the rate of interest is 18%. If 18% continues for 5 years, when the dispute is settled by the honorable court, it is going to be 90% of the tax liability. So as to reduce the burden of interest, you can make the payment under protest with the caption that yes, if the court gives in our favor, then we'll claim the refund thereof. If it does not, then in that case, at least your interest burden will be reduced. So therefore, most of the persons are moving ahead for making the payments under protest so that the interest burden is not there, even if they get the judgment against them.
One more question is that what is the remedy if ITC01 is not filed in case converting from composite dealer to regular dealer within 30 days?
Again, the same thing. See, if you will not file, there are two questions. One is that when I am converting myself from a regular dealer to a composition dealer, and I am not filing the prescribed form, but in that case, I am not claiming the credits also. There is no impact of that. But if I am not filing this form ITC01 and getting the credit in my electronic credit ledger, then I may lose that credit. After 30 days, the department may not allow, the GSTN will certainly not allow. Then I'll have to move to the court. Otherwise, let's say if there is a credit of 2 lakh rupees, then that 2 lakh rupees can reduce my tax liability, or my it can impact my pocket. So therefore, this needs to be filed within the time limit. Otherwise, government is at benefit. So there is no problem at all to the government. You are losing your credits. Government will not do anything. They will not impose any penalty or late fees or any charges on you.
One more question from Mr. Ajay Kumar Prasad. How do the time limit extension work vis-a-vis the suo motu order by the Supreme Court?
There are a lot of sessions, a lot of discussions. Yesterday also we had a session of 2 hours, more than 2 hours, wherein we have discussed the impact of suo motu order by the Honorable Supreme Court. Uh, See, the order of Supreme Court is applicable to judicial and quasi-judicial proceedings. It is not applicable to all the events, and therefore, filing of returns being the compliance, it is not forming. It is not part of either judicial or quasi-judicial proceedings, and therefore, extension of time was supposed to be granted by way of a notification separately issued by the government, which they have issued recently yesterday, and therefore there is no link. But yes, the order of the Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court feels that looking to the current situation, the dates, all the limitations should be extended till July. Why the government could not think on those lines? What is the purpose? Yes, I certainly understand that, but there is no link between the extension of time limits and the suo motu order of the Supreme Court.
Last question. Last year, in respect of some SSC, ITC was blocked and not able to claim it. When it will be released, how to approach for the same?
They the first the government was not having the power to block the credits. Then there was an introduction of a rule, which is rule 86 capital A, which was introduced in the CGST rules, through which they have started blocking the credits. The virus of this particular rule is already under challenge before various high courts, because the way and the manner in which they are blocking the credits is not appropriate, and that was never perceived by the department or by the lawmakers also. Still, they are blocking it. Now, to get it unblocked, you will have to write to the officer that under what provisions of the law you are blocking it. If they do not respond, and if the amount is substantially high and it is impacting your working capital, then I would suggest you should move to the appropriate jurisdictional court and get the relief of unblocking your electronic credit ledger.
Okay, sir. That's it. We have more sessions coming in the coming weeks. So all of your doubts regarding compliance and all will be answered accordingly. If you have any further questions, you can send it to info@taxscan.in. We'll be happy to forward your questions to Mr. Avinash, sir. That's it, sir. We'll wind up the session for today.
Fine, fine. Thank you to everyone. And once
Thank
again,
you.
let me
Yeah,
thank
thank you,
you.
Avinash sir.
Thank you so much. Just a minute. Once again, I'll reiterate that we have already launched and started our earlier announced two series, one case mining series 2 and the principles of statutory interpretation. The benefit which is offered by TAXSCAN to all the participants is available till 6th May 2021. Please make use of that additional discount of 10% by using the code Avinash Poddar and get that additional discount. I personally recommend that TAXSCAN is very prompt in informing the updations so far as GST is concerned. So thank you once again to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avinash sir, for the enlightened session. Actually, we have faced some technical issues initially, and we'll be rectifying all the technical issue from next session onwards. There will not be any technical issue. I assure that. Next, we'll be sending updates on next session by email and WhatsApp. You'll be getting details in email as well as WhatsApp for the next session. The next session will be on next Sunday, 11 a.m. and hope everyone will be attending the same. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.